Hey there, Heather, ho there. Jeff Cutter diving welcoming you to another Stone Cold Hockey 74-75 NHL video. We have ourselves a lot of games, a lot of teams have played. We have, well, there's 80 games in the regular season. We've played 65, so 15 more regular season games left. We are 2 back of those pesky New York Islanders for the Patrick Division lead. I think we have some games hands. I don't know. Rangers are third at 72, and the Flames have 63, so they're pretty much trying to chase the Rangers for that playoff spot. It's a dogfight in the Smythe, Vancouver, Chicago, St. Louis. It looks practically that Minnesota and Kansas City are definitely not going to make the playoffs. So we know Vancouver, Chicago, St. Louis will make the Smythe. The question is who will be number one and get the bye in the quarters, and who will be 2, 3 who will have to play in the preliminary round. Buffalo looking good against Boston. It looks like it's definitely Buffalo Boston's race. Toronto is way back there. They have to look at California for 41 points, try to avoid losing their playoff spot. Montreal crushing it over Los Angeles by 26 points. They practically have the division won. LA leads Pittsburgh by 10. Pittsburgh pretty much is comfortable over Detroit and Washington, which means that LA and Pittsburgh will make the playoffs, and Montreal will be watching. Well, we'll be watching for the quarterfinals. Now, of course, a lot of people will be pissed off. Toronto and, well, Atlanta and Detroit will be pissed off because their 63 and 56 points respectively are more than the 51 points that Toronto's got. But you're in the wrong division, man. You have to be top three. Standings wise, Phillies play. We're only 2 games in hand. We only have a game in hand on the Islanders, and we're only 2 points back. But they do have more wins, so that's not good. Everyone's played at least 65 games. The most amount of games is 68 by Washington, Chicago, and Kansas City. St. Louis kind of has a little bit of an advantage over Chicago because they have 2 games in hand on those guys. Of course, they have 2 games in hand on the Canucks. Everything else looks pretty good. We are 22-6-4 at home. Only the Islanders, Blackhawks, Sabres, Bruins, Habitants, Kings, and Penguins have fewer than 10 home losses. That's a lot more than I thought. Well, we won 17 road games. We have won the second most road games. Well, third is LA with 16, but we're second best on the road and wins with 17, whereas Montreal's won 24. Highlights. Our best game was against the Rangers 9-0. Our worst was 5-2 against the Islanders. We have only lost by 3 goals. I think, are we the only team? Nope. Montreal's the only other team to not have a loss by 4 or more goals. Atlanta's got the third best worst defeat, only losing by 4. There have been 48 hat tricks. Guy Lafleur's the last one, the post one. Boston, Washington, still the memorable game on January 7th when Washington was down 5-2 to Boston and looking to roll over, but scored 4 goals in the third period. Vancouver, Montreal from February 26th when Montreal was up 4-1. Vancouver was up 4-0, and then they choked, giving up 5 goals to Tremblay, Lambert, Cournoyer, Lapointe, and Lemaire. Can you believe you're up 4-0 and you blow it? Montreal, Detroit from January 8th is the third most memorable game when Detroit was up 5-3 and gave up 4 goals to Gainey, Mahavlich, Riseborough, Kitchener, and Cournoyer. So we play in Pittsburgh. It's the Battle of Pennsylvania. And yes, Bernie and Nut against Michel Plas, who's the backup to Gary Innes, Bob Johnson, not Badger Bob Johnson, but there's a Bob Johnson, and Denny Herron also in that. But yeah, Bernie Pront and Nat Stevenson and Taylor are the backups. Philly has Reggie Leach, the Riverton Rifle, Rick McLeish, a good player, Bill Barber, Kitchener, and in the Hall of Fame. Bobby Clark, our captain, Russ Lonsberry, Bill Clement, who does commentator for ABC, Gary Dornhofer, who did color commentator for CBC, and Moose DuPont, who thought he had a game-winning goal scored on NBC in Game 6 of the 74 Stanley Cup Finals. But no, it was Rick McLeish's goal. And yes, that game was on NBC. Check the stats. Bob Hound Kelly, R.S. Kindrachuk, Don Big Bird Selesky, Dave the Hammer Schultz, Tom the Blade Bladon. Great players. Terry Crisp, 89 Stanley Cup winner with the Flames as coach. The Joe and Jimmy Watson Show. Larry Goodenough. Ed Van Imp, known for his hitting as well while doing a Feller and Hall of After in Super Series 76. Ted Harris, Bob Savoy, Serge Lejournes, Jack McLehaney. Pittsburgh has Jean Podeveau, good guy. Rick Kehoe, to the keyhole. Vic Hatfield, former Ranger icon. Pierre Larouche, who would be a 50-goal scorer for the Penguins and the Habs, but had some maturity problems. Low McDonald, Bob Kelly. I think it's a different Bob Kelly. Chuck Arneson, former Canadian hack. Sil Apps Jr. Senior was a great player for the Leafs back in the 30s, 40s. Ronnie Schock, the guy who scored a double overtime goal in 1968 to help the Blues make the Stanley Cup Finals. Ron Stackhouse, good defenseman. Lou Morrison, Dennis Ouchard, Nelson DeBenet, Billy Wilkins, Pete LaFramboise, known as the Raspberry. Bob McNamara, Colin Campbell, yes, the disciplined guy. Bob Paradise, Dave Burrows, who would go with the Canucks. No AbdeMarco, no Jean-Guy Lagasse, and no Ron Lalonde. I think they got traded to Washington for LaFramboise because I know he and DeBenet because I know he played for Washington. 5 minutes in the game, a Peter and a Philly chance and a no goal for Barber. 3 minutes later, Pittsburgh. Well, he's in the zone. Auto zone. We have a chance, Bobby Clark. No. And we get penalty. Owen Hopper, 2. And for Pittsburgh, Arneson. No. That's why he's a hack. We have a chance. Moose. No. Chances applauding. Yeah, we have to go 12, 2, and 1 to do the same as we did in real life. Pittsburgh would have to go 7, 6, and 2 to do the same thing. Aggression? Not for us. It will be Bobby Clark, of all people. And Lowell McDonald can't score. Well, agitator? We agitated them and they got a penalty. Kelly. So do we have a jet ski? Or yes, we do. Power play goal. Or rest. Kinderchuk. His 13th from Clement and Selesky. 1-0. 3 minutes later, we score. LaRouche. 22nd from Will McDonald. 4 minutes later, the jet skiers, baby, aboard, hell I adore. Kitchener. Bill Barber has 24 from Bobby Clark. 77 assists. Wow. Amazing. No jet skiers. He does it again. Baby on board. High door. That's second goal from the man from Kitchener. Bladen and Clark with the assist. No way. We did it again. But it's McLeish from Dornhofer and Clark. Bobby Clark scoring 3 assists that period. He's everywhere. Michel Plas is out, and it will be Bob Johnson. They're going to go with Johnson because they're already down 4-1. We're going to fuck them up. Kill the clock on them. From Stackhouse and Hatfield. 4-2. Just keep going the clock. Let's yours from LaRouche. Uh-oh. Oh no, don't tell me. I'm tired. No, we don't. Moose DuPont. There's a goal from McLeish. 5-3. All is well in Flyers. And Dornhofer scores another goal on the empty net from Crisp. 6-3. So we crushed them. 2 empty netters. We still won the game, didn't we? Can't take it away from us. And Bobby Clark had 3 assists. Wasn't for our captain, we would not have been good. Well, that's our 40th win of the year. Beautiful. So we play again. We'll play Detroit. Boston beats Atlanta. Buffalo beats Pitt. Islanders crush California. Not good. St. Louis and Minnesota tie. Montreal beats the Rangers. And Toronto crushes the expansion Capitals. We host Detroit, and it will be Bernie versus Doug Grant. They're number 3, so Detroit's going with Doug Grant. No Rutherford, no Richardson, no McKenzie. Well, Detroit has almost nothing to play for. They're probably wishing they were in Toronto's division because then they could get that playoff spot. Of course, this was the dead things era in which from 1971 to 1988, 18 years, they only made the playoffs twice. No, I think 3 times in 2 decades. And then 1990, they missed the playoffs, and they would not miss the playoffs again for 26 years. The Red Wings have Danny Grant. I think that's Doug Grant's brother. Danny Grant, the starter of the North Stars once a time. Marcel Dionne in his last season before he forced a trade to LA because he was being selfish, as they say. Nick Libett, Bill Lockup, Mickey Redmond, the great color commentator for Red Wings broadcast, still alive. Bill Hogebon, Phil Roberto, who was a Canadian for my 71 team. Michel Bourgeois, Le Petit Tigre. Pierre Charry, Mike Corney, Walt McCagney, future Leaf and Colorado Rocky. Gary Bergman, who played for Canada in the 772. Sean Hamel, who unfortunately would get hurt, a career-ending injury in a brawl in that Good Friday brawl in 1984. Doug Roberts, Larry Giroux, Bart Crashley, Byron Watson, Dave Crisco, and Blair Stewart. A few minutes in, they have a chance. They fail. The blue guys for the win. FLYERS, Jimmy Mack. Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy Mack, when are you coming back? Jimmy Watson is 10 from Joe Watson and Kendrick. Killing the clock. Kitchener. His 26. Dave the Hammer with an assist. Who knew he could pass the puck? Another chance. Dornhofer. Frig. I thought we were going to score quickly. They have a chance. Live it. No. Horse first. They deliver hit. No big deal. No big deal. Oh, captain, my captain from Chris. I'm quite sure he's really right off like that. Doug Grant has got nothing but trouble. Danny Grant trying to score? No. 4 minutes later. Jimmy Mack, his second from Ted Harris with the field him out there. Oh, weird stop on Bobby Brown. Proving why Detroit shouldn't be a playoff team. Question? Actually, yes. We are the Brush Street Bullies after all. And Hammer Schultz. Marcel, oh, we stopped him. Pierre Jarry, we stopped him. Pass for 5, Barber, no. Detroit got the penalty. It's Giroux, not Claude Giroux. That's a powerful goal. It's not Lansbury, it's Lonsbury. His 22nd from McLeish and Moose. And Terry Richardson's now coming in the net. There's this fight. Oh, what? It's Lonsbury and Lippett? Lonsbury? Since when could you fight? Leave it to the professionals. Bobby Clark scores! I captain my captain from Dornhofer and Kinderchek, 6-0. Well, alright. And Gary Bergman tried to score, but he couldn't. Aggression. 2 hits, but no penalty. Thank goodness for that. McLeish should have scored? No. Lonsbury again? No, sir. Oh. Of course. With 2 seconds left, Mickey Redmond from Dion and Hamel. Darn it. Perron, you were 2 seconds away from a freaking shutout. Oh, well. We still won. 6-0. Bobby Clark, a pair of goals. Surprise. McLeish hasn't really scored. Neither has Reggie for us. Well, we're still winning, so can't bitch. Because if we bitch, we're terrible. So March 11th, Rangers beat Boston. Big win for them. Buffalo beat LA. Cupcakes beat Detroit. Shit. Atlanta beat St. Louis. And Vancouver crushes Kansas City in the fine powder. Our next game is not on the 12th. There's an Atlanta tie. Chicago beats St. Louis. Big battle in the Smythe. Buffalo beats Cal. Rangers beat the Cupcakes, helping us out a bit. Pittsburgh beats Boston quite handily. Well, Boston gets their asses whipped. Montreal goes to Toronto and wins 6-2. Like that matters. Oh, we play Pittsburgh, but we already played Pittsburgh, so we have to simulate because we can't play the same opponent twice. In a video, LA beat Detroit, and we crushed Pittsburgh. We still won anyway. Johnson got beaten by Perron. Pittsburgh goes by Laframboise, Raspberry, Shock, and Arneson. 29 goals for Arneson. Okay. McLeish, Clark, Leach, Clark, Clement, and Kelly and Clark. So Bobby Clark with Patrick. Dude's on fire. 5 goals in 2 games. The 14th. Atlanta crushes the Rangers 7-2. They're chasing. Detroit beats Cal. Kansas City ties St. Louis, and Buffalo beats Vancouver. On the Saturday, we're headed to Toronto for Saturday night hockey. Minnesota beats Chicago. Big win for them. Montreal shuts down Los Angeles. Islanders only get a point against Boston, and Pittsburgh crushes Washington. So we play Toronto and Bertie Perron against Doug Favell. Do 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 do. You know the rest of the song. Saturday night with Bill Hewitt on the call. Doug Favell and Bertie Perron are your starters. Gordon McCraig, Duncan Wilson, and Pierre Hamel are the backups for Toronto. Daryl Sittler, my idol, number 27. I have his autographed hockey card. Ron Ellis, number 6 in your programs. Earl Thompson, Blaine Stoughton, who would do much better for the Whale. Inger Hammerstrom, who was criticized for basically he could take 6 eggs in the corner in his pocket and it won't break any of them. Calling him a chicken Swede. Of course, that's what Harold Ballard thinks. It's not my opinion. George Ferguson, Lanny McDonald, the great number 7 on the team who got traded to Colorado because Punch and Luck had a fucking hissy fit. Cocksucker. Dave Keon, number 14, before he was forced to the WHA by Harold Ballard's stupidity. Bill Cowboy Flett, former Flyer. Bourrier Salming, who was signed while Harold Ballard was in prison, and it actually worked out for us. Long-time Leaf. Too bad he played a year in Detroit. He would have been a great one-team guy. Tiger Williams, Tiger Uppercut, the penalty minute leader. Not even Dave Schultz has that mark. Normie Allman, who's still around after being traded from the Red Wings to the Leafs in the Frank Mahovlich deal of 1968. Jim McKenney, good defenseman. Claire Alexander, Ian Turnbull, who once scored 5 goals in a game. That was 1977. Gary Sabourin, former Blue. I remember him. Bob Neely, Rod Sealing, Kitchener. Rangers icon too. Dave Dunn, not from Slapshot, that's Sticky Dunn. Lyle Moffat, clear the track. Here comes Shaq. He still was around 75. Brian Glennie, and that's it. 5 minutes into the game, injury. Dallas defense reduced by 1. But the good news is we don't take a penalty. Much later. They scored! Blaine Stoughton. Allman and Ellis. We put 1-0. I can't imitate Daryl Hewitt's voice. So I take the penalty. It's Bobby Clark. Of all people. Hammerstrom? No. And no shot there. The more ways wrong. Transfer skiers. Stu Pond. His 6 from Jimmy Mack. And Bobby Clark. 1-1. Last moments of the first. Skiers. There's a Riverton rifle. There's the one we know. From Goodina and Van Imp. 2-1. We're looking good. I know. And you're thinking, don't you mean Foster Hewitt? Well, technically, no. Bill Hewitt is Foster Hewitt's son, and Foster was a legend. He started radio broadcasting in the 30s, and then he was around for like 3 decades. They had him coax him out of retirement to do the 7 Series in 1972. Nevertheless, Bill was fine, and then he was starting to have health problems. Earl Thompson couldn't do anything about it. And we can't do anything about it. Much later. Ron Ellis, stopped by Bernie. Much later. Leach gets whacked by Lanny McDonald. Do we have a chance? We do. We score. Pop-up power play goal. Hammer. Man. Hammer man. Sorry, that's dumb cartoon. His 6 from Selesky and Barber. I'm like, Dave Schultz can score goals? Well, after 40, it's 3 for us, 1 for them. 4 minutes later, they kill the clock. But DuPont takes a dumb penalty. But fortunately, we don't give up. Bertie Perron is just been on that fucking fire. I'll tell you something. If it wasn't for Bertie Perron, we probably would be a middling team. But they score. Anderson got his 19 from Silver and Thompson. Chicken Swede my ass. I know they're my opponents, but I am a Leaf fan after all. Corfu? Only delivers a hit. Now it's up to the empty net. And they can't score. We survive 3-2. Well, Perrant did do a good job. And Dave Schultz scores a game winner of all frickin' people. So we win. We have a Sunday game, don't we? Yep, against the Kings. Well, that'll be next time. We're just simulating around. Toronto beat Buffalo. So we are 1 point clear of the Islanders for the lead. Rangers are 8 up on Atlanta. Vancouver and Chicago and St. Louis are only separated by 3 points. Vancouver has the lead. Yeah, Minnesota, Kansas City, there's no fucking chance. Buffalo looks good against Boston to win the Adams, and Toronto's got 55 points, still in third place in the playoff. Montreal 115, they crushed the North. Pittsburgh is only 6 points back of LA, trying to catch them. Points do matter. Detroit and Washington are not going to make it. Detroit is fuming because they have 60 points, and Atlanta will have 68 points. Heck, they almost would have been third in the Smythe. St. Louis only has 69 points. Not so nice. And no, Reggie Leach was not the first guy to get 50 goals. Danny Grant was. Although Danny Grant didn't score on us. Bernie Perron is fifth. Well, he does have 5 shutouts. He would have had a 6, but he was 2 seconds short. I look at the goalies ahead of him for the goals against. Bouchard, I don't really recognize. Dryden and Rogie, because they played a lot. Chico has only played 20 more games. So, yeah, things are weird. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond, adieu.